Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at homedepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for downloading Beer Nuts for free on iTunes or from ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate Beer Nuts 5 stars on iTunes and help to tell others about Beer Nuts by leaving a comment. Thank you for following Beer Nuts on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast and on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. Please like the Beer Nuts Podcast on Facebook to like and share Beer Nuts. If you'd like to donate to Beer Nuts, you can click on the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net. If you use Amazon.com, please click and bookmark the Amazon link at ChristopherMedia.net. It will not cost you any extra money, and you will help to support Beer Nuts. If you're looking to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media uses HostGator to host all of the shows produced by the Christopher Media Network. When you click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net and sign up for HostGator, you are helping to support Beer Nuts. TheBroBasket.com. Guys are tired of all those boring socks and ties. BroBasket is the answer to the age-old question, what do I get a guy? We know that choosing the perfect gift for a man is a difficult task, but not anymore. TheBroBasket.com is here to help. We all know men are hard to shop for, but what do guys actually like? Their favorite alcohol, that's what. It could be craft beer, wine, whiskey, scotch, or tequila. TheBroBasket.com will put it in a gift basket full of their favorite gear and goodies. You can customize your own BroBasket or choose from a variety of different BroBaskets, like the Ultimate Import Sampler, the Jack and Coke Gift Set, or the Junior Executive Gift Basket. Boozeless but still cool BroBaskets are also available. TheBroBasket.com gives you many shipping options to choose from, including rush delivery and Saturdays. 21 and over, please. State and local laws apply. Beer, wine, and liquor are not available for shipping in all states. You can help to support Christopher Media by clicking through the BroBasket.com banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Alcohol gift baskets. What men really want. Men used to be hard to shop for. TheBroBasket.com. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to another edition of Beer Nuts. We're back. Took a couple weeks off in October, but we're back. We're on the road. It's another edition of Road Warriors. I do want to say before we begin, we put out 2 episodes in October. However, our episode on Southwest Michigan was the most downloaded episode for our entire network in October. So thank you to everybody. Glad you're listening. If you're new, welcome. If you like it, share it. And kick ass. Just wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah, wow, thanks.
And thank you, Nathan Peck, for coming on the show. Brought us some a lot of listeners. You've got a big fan club, Nathan.
Yeah, right on. That's great. And I do also want to mention, while we were recording this, the 7th game of the World Series is happening. Cubs are leading 4-1. But, might be a little distracted here for a little bit. I know Doug's watching. Doug, you're from Chicago. This has got to be great for you, even though you're from the South Side, right? In the traditionally White Sox territory.
It's now 5-1. Cubs have just scored.
Yeah.
Originally from the South Side. Born and raised a Sox fan, but certainly not a Cubs hater. So go Cubs, man. Woo!
Yeah, it's good for the city. They're still from Chicago.
Oh, it's good for the city. And for many years, it was good for my business at the time. So I got used to going to games there. Certainly the best place to see a game in Chicago, a game of baseball. But not only Chicago, maybe the whole United States. I mean, there's not many ballparks like Wrigley.
Yeah. By the way, I am Chris. With me from MichiganBeerGuide.com is JR.
Yo, in the house.
And, of course, Dugout. Already kind of de facto introduced.
Yeah.
6-1 Cubs.
Yes, I couldn't wait. Impatience. That's my key.
Yeah. I'm from Detroit, and I'm on the side of history. I like to see historical things. Like this is definitely, I perked up a couple days ago when I realized the Cubs, were battling back from 3-1. But I just think this is cool to see. This was like when you saw the Sox win in 2004, Boston. That was cool to see as well. I mean, that's just seeing some historic stuff. So it's it's good to see. Go Cubs. And they're not our competitors. They're in the NL anyway. So go Cubbies.
Right, and if things continue the way they are tonight, that curse of the goat will be gone.
Well, it's 5-1. Game's half over. It's the middle of the fifth. It is literally halfway point. So we will see. But, if we're going to celebrate a Cubs World Series victory, perhaps, you can celebrate with some beer. We have some beer.
Beverage. Wait a minute. We got a beer quote.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Well, keeping in the theme with what's going on tonight, we got a couple of Harry Carey quotes. We got 2 quotes. I'm going to do one. JR's going to do one. Start with booze, broads, and bullshit. If you got all that, what else do you need? Pretty apt.
And I think for a lot of years, that's what the Cubs had.
Yeah, but it's all they had.
You know what? Yeah, when you think the Chicago Cubs, especially growing up, I watched the Cubs on WGN. Even though I'm a Philadelphia Phillies diehard fan, you couldn't help but root for the lovable losers. And my quote from the great Harry Carey is simply, "Someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series." I only wish he had lived to experience this, but I'm sure he's watching from the great broadcast booth in the sky. So cheers to Harry Carey, and good luck, Cubs.
Cheers to him. There's a guy that just bled Cubby blue, and he was the announcer for the White Sox. So there's not a person in Chicago that doesn't hold him near and dear to their hearts.
And I also
technically, he is not wrong.
I also believe that he's been known to have a beer or two in the broadcast booth.
Oh, really?
Give me another picture of Budweiser, king of beers.
So without further ado, who wants to lead it off? Because I'm thirsty. Why don't you start us out, Dugout?
Oh, I thought we were rolling with Christopher. You got something pretty special over there.
Yeah, I can go first. Well, I am on the road for work. We got a countdown going. 3. This is 3. Next we got 2, and then 1, and then I'm off for like a month. It's going to be great. But while I'm on the road, I'll tell you what. I'm up here in Seattle, and since I, job transferred me out to the Pacific Northwest, much easier to get beers for these shows when I'm on the road. East Coast, yeah, they're there, but you got to chase them down if you want something that's, not that you can find everywhere. You got to go. You got to get involved with some apps and chase some stuff down. But out here, it isn't the grocery stores. I mean, it's a wide variety. Whether it's in Portland or up in Seattle, they got some laws up here that help keep things local, and good on them for that. Because even in the grocery store, the selection of craft beers, even in just the Bombers, is insane. Hey, before I get into this though, I want to invite everybody, as we always do, grab yourself a beer, crack it open, drink it with us. Maybe you're in Chicago, and perhaps you have something to celebrate. I'm not making any presumptions. It's 5-3 at the moment, but JR always says we're not pretentious. We're just trying to turn everybody on to some better beer. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so I'm going to read from the bottle here. Pretty straightforward. Elysian Space Dust IPA. It says the hopping is pure Starglow energy with Chinook to bitter and late and dry additions of Citra and Amarillo. Okay. Elysian is so background on Elysian. It operates 4 restaurants and breweries in the city of Seattle. It's known for its variety and innovation. Elysian has brewed hundreds of craft beers since it opened in 1996 and has won Large Brew Pub of the Year 3 times at the GABF. So the color on this one, we are somewhere in the neighborhood of golden to amber, I want to say. That's what I can see through the foam. I mean, I'm truth be told, I'm in a paper cup. So lacing's pretty heavy due to the paper cup. But poking through here, this is what I'm seeing. A lot of floral on the aroma. This beer kind of reminds me of smelling a flower, quite honestly. Let's go ahead and take a sip. The mouthfeel, we're somewhere in the neighborhood between medium and instead of light, I don't like to say light, I like to say crisp, like a cider. All right. We're somewhere between medium and there. And I mean, we are hops in front, but we're citrus in back, which is nice. But that's also pretty, from what I'm starting to understand, that's kind of characteristic of the West Coast style of IPA out here. But this is a delicious beer. And apparently, the Evil Empire owns Elysian. I just thought they were really good, and that's why they were everywhere out here. But yeah, you guys taught me this is an AB InBev beer now. How long ago that happened?
That's been about a year or two. That's one of the earlier ones. I think it's been almost 2 years.
Oh,
but
wow.
a lot of people in the craft beer snobs are not keen on the fact that they were bought out, and there are legitimate concerns there as the larger companies buying up the smaller guys. However, if you look at it the other side of the coin, it's putting more good beer in more good people's shelves. So, there's a positive and a negative to everything. So you get the traditionalists that don't want the big beer companies buying up the little guys. But then you got the fact that the big guys have the distribution clout to get this beer in more people's hands. So personally, as long as the quality of the beer is good, I don't have issues with it. Anybody else want to comment on their thoughts?
Well, it reminds me of what people do with bands. Like, everybody loves a band till they get popular, and 6-3 Cubs, and
Rossi's home run. Yeah.
Yeah. A little distracted tonight. I apologize to everybody. It's the same thing goes on with
recording
bands.
during Game 7 of the World Series, and so we'll be distracted kind of time.
It seems the craft beer community and the music community are kind of similar, as in the purists, the people who are hardcore into it, the real passionate people, which is good, I suppose, but at the same time, they begrudge you any success. They think success means you've sold out. And I guess when you're young and idealistic, that's the way you think. But at the same time, like, if more people can enjoy this product, who cares? It's still good. The local example we have is Founders. I can go get a Founders right now. I walk across the street to the Safeway and get a Founders. But still doesn't change the fact that the beer is good. Like, I just don't get why people do that. Like, this is awesome beer. I haven't had Elysian until I started coming out here. This isn't my first Elysian beer that I've had. It still seems to be good quality beer. So what? If the big boys are letting them do their thing, what does it matter?
Yep. Well, that's what they always say, that they're going to not meddle and let the brewers do their thing. And if they're true to their word, that's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
I mean, hey, everybody is a company wants this model where 110% of everything you do gets consumed, right?
Yeah.
So, say your ex-brewery that's hot, that's what's going to happen. And unless you make adjustments as a company to either increase your volume, and however it works, or you're just going to sit there and, like, okay, we can feed our kids off this, but why wouldn't we become big? Because we can, because our product is so good. There are lots of companies that like that sort of model for a company to operate completely solo. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but if it works and the beer doesn't change and it doesn't suffer or it does come watered down, any of that stuff, what's the problem?
Well, sounds good to me. I wish I had one.
So now we're gonna fly 2,000 miles ish.
This is a true road warriors here. We're all
Yeah.
Are we coming to Fort Wayne now?
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, dugouts in Fort Wayne tonight, and
An unofficial Chicago suburb. Don't say that to them.
By going into the pubs, as I went to get a bite to eat, walked into this place, and there was barely a seat anywhere, and it was a huge, huge place, and everybody was wearing Cubs jerseys and scarves and hats and jackets, and it was Cubs land in Fort Wayne, Indiana tonight. But I did pop into a little local liquor chain called Captain Cork in Fort Wayne, and it's a great place. I mean, if you're in and around Indiana, it's really a good chain. They've always got good craft beers in there. I found what's local, which is Mad Anthony. And Mad Anthony is a brew pub. I believe they have several different locations, but originally started here in Fort Wayne. Beer I'm drinking is called Hop Wang. And there is I was corrected on this earlier from what I thought it was, but it's a sea creature stepping on a hop. And there's a whole bunch of beer bottles behind it, really green beer bottles. So I'm thinking this is going to be a pretty hop-forward beer. And from the label, I'll read, Hop Wang is our version of a double IPA brewed with fresh hop cones, grown at Hophead Farms in Battle Creek, Michigan. So I'm in Fort Wayne, but Battle Creek is really, really close to Fort Wayne. The hop cones were picked the day before the beer was brewed. So pour this out. It's got a really dark amber color to it. Paper cup. So I'm not even going to describe lacing or any of that stuff because I'm sitting in a hotel drinking stuff. And first sniff of this beer is just it's sort of like the day you mow the lawn. Get that kind of fresh grass smell. It's not that fresh grass smell. It's citrusy hops. And as somebody that drinks a lot of beer, you know what I'm talking about. So give this stuff a taste. All right, I know we've discussed something that I always call beer up on the show before, and that's sort of the mouthfeel of kind of heavy mouthfeel, heavy hop, and it's sort of the equivalent to syrup, but it's beer up because holy crap, these hops are just wow. It's probably 10 times hoppier than anything I've drinking in a long time.
So is it like a sticky resinous mouthfeel?
Yeah, it's. I think we can go back. I mean, when I brewed a smash last fall, with all that Cascade hops, and there was so much hops, and just sort of like handfuls being thrown in, that kind of stuff. That's the way this beer is. It's intense.
Oh man, I want some.
So you got any info on Mad Anthony over there, JR?
I was just reading up on this particular beer. It's 7.4%, 72 IBUs. It was a small batch release on mid-October. So you got a freshie there. As far as the brewery, I don't really have much on it other than I like the logo at the bottom. It says craft beer should be a little mad. So it's kind of a cool little statement. But it sounds like a wonderful beer, and I wish I had some.
Yeah, I wish y'all did. It's sort of blown me away. I got 4 more left. We had a little glitch, so I accidentally drank one before I reviewed it this time. But
oops.
Second time's always good. So what do you have over there, JR?
All right, well, I'm the only one that's not on the road. However, I was on the road last night in the great beer town of Grand Rapids, and always a good time there. Visited a few new breweries, found some new things, but actually the beer I have now is something I've been dying to drink, and I kind of regret not saving it because the dugout, I really should have saved this to drink with you. It's a 22-ounce bomber, but of one of your favorite Michigan beers. It's the bourbon barrel aged version of one of your favorite standbys, the Huma
Humalupalicious. Oh, man,
Humalupalicious.
you're killing me here, JR. Come on.
Well, I just call it Huma. But
They
it
can
is
do it?
Bourbon, Shorts Brewing. It's the bourbon barrel aged Humalupalicious India
They can do
Pale
that with
aged
that?
bourbon barrels.
What?
A complex bourbon and hop theme park in your mouth. And
That's
let me tell you,
allowed? I didn't know that's what you were
I'm
drinking.
Filling my glass now. Must admit I've had some before, but it's got a nice, healthy, white, foamy head. Real good to see that. I can tell you because I already drank half a glass. It's got really great lacing. So, real good body here. The color is a murky brown. I know that doesn't sound appealing, but you can see through it. But it is a clear, murky brown, if that makes sense. It's not really amber. It's almost more like a light brown. So, without further ado, I'm going to, first of all, on the nose, it smells almost like a bourbon and water. It just, all I can smell is bourbon. And when I taste it, I mean, the bourbon is just really, really strong. I mean, a lot of people use the term hot. I don't think it's hot. That's like a bourbon that burns. This is just like, it almost reminds you of like a bourbon and water. I mean, although that doesn't do justice to the great beer that's the backbone of this thing, because at the very end of it, the bourbon fades away, and then you get a punch in the mouth of a nice hop bitterness. So it kind of goes from being a bourbon bomb to a hop bomb, a little bit transition in between, and it's it's tasty. But if you don't like bourbon, it won't be for you. But fortunately, I love bourbon, and I love this beer.
I like bourbon.
So this was available at the brewery out in Bel Air, Michigan, and they also had limited distribution. But I think it was pretty hard to find. I was fortunate to get a bottle of it, and it's. I'm going to read the description on the Shorts website. Bourbon Huma is our best-selling American India Pale Ale aged in bourbon barrels for up to 9 months. An initial malt sweetness is replaced with flavors of charred oak and sweet vanilla, followed by the standard Huma hot punch to the palate. This new combination creates the sensation of sipping on a sweet bourbon that finishes like a bitter hop theme park in your mouth. And I couldn't have written a more accurate description. I mean, exactly how I reviewed it is almost to a T what this says. The flavors of the charred oak and the sweet vanilla, they're just that's comes along with the bourbon profile, in my opinion. A lot of bourbons have those features, but the bourbon really, really stands out in this. And out of all the bourbon barrel aged beers I've ever had, I can't think of one that tastes so much like bourbon. And then as the bourbon fades away, the hops take over, and it's a really nice beer experience. I'm going to have to find another one of these to share with you, Doug. So that'll be a mission that I'll put myself on in the next couple of weeks. It's 11.8%.
I'll keep my eye open for it too, and we can maybe get a couple bottles together.
So it's 11.8% and 66 IBUs, and man, it's a heavyweight, man. So really nice, cool graphic on the label of two barrels squeezing a hop. And I'm telling you, man, this is a bourbon lover's dream here.
All right. So, well, I guess...
So before we move on to the next beer, I did want to mention that Uncle Pete is traveling himself in Chicago. He's actually in Chicago, so he's probably watching the Cubs game. But I believe... I spoke with him earlier tonight, and he said that I think he had to go back to work at the plant that he's working in out in Chicago. So maybe he's not watching the game, but he did want to say that he really misses being part of the episodes, and he actually sent me a review of a beer that he had with dinner at Three Floyds tonight before he had to return to work. So if you'd like, I can read that now, or I can save it for the end of the show. But I wanted to let you know that he's also a road warrior on the road, and though he's not here to talk with us, he is reviewed a beer for us in absentia and is still very much a part of our show. And I'm sure he's going to be listening to this. So we miss you too, buddy, and look forward to the next time we can all be together, which I believe will be in the very near future. So
he's not fooling me. He's in Wrigleyville.
He's at the game. No, he's
Yeah,
not in Richville. He's at the game in Cleveland. But JR, now you got me intrigued, man. Please read it, because we are big Three Floyd fans here. Say that fast 3 times.
Alrighty now, then. Okay, here we go. Here's Uncle Pete's review from Three Floyds this evening in Munster, Indiana. Not too far from you, Dugout. But the beer that he is reviewing is called Big Drunk Baby from Three Floyds. Is an extremely hoppy double IPA brewed in collaboration with McKellar Warpigs Brew Pub in Copenhagen, Denmark. This beer has an 8.7% ABV and 81 IBUs. It's $5 for an 8-ounce snifter. It's a small pour, but a big beer. Medium orange bronze color with a thin white head, medium carbonation with some lacing. Nose full of pine and citrus mixed with firm maltiness. Dances across the taste buds with a resiny stickiness. Bitter forward that transitions into a sweet nectar. Stands right up there with a Dogfish Head 90-minute. Even kind of reminds me of Hop Slam. Rich and flavorful, highly recommended. Three Floyds has a winner with its anniversary celebration ale, one of several they rolled out for the occasion. Cheers, Three Floyds and War Pigs. Thanks for sharing with us, and cheers to many more years and anniversaries to come. From somewhere on the road to craft beer flavor town, Uncle Pete.
That's the best Road Warrior statement ever.
I think he's trumped all of us with that review. That was a wonderful review.
How Hunter S. Thompson of him.
So yeah, we're very much looking forward to that. And
well, you know what? Let's bring it up. I mean, speaking of Three Floyds, there's some big news in the beer world over the last week or so. I mean, JR, we've done stuff with Surly on the show. We've done Three Floyds. Fill us in what happened.
Well, the head brewer for the founding brewer of Surly Brewing in Minnesota, the iconic Surly Brewing that we've had on the show when we did our Minnesota Beers episode with Andy. Surly's loss of founding brewer Todd Hogg just got more painful. He's heading to Chicago. He's going to Three Floyds. So the brewer that put Surly on the map is leaving for Chicagoland's Three Floyds Brewing Company, the very uncompromising brewery with the slogan "Not Normal" that was ranked this year as the 4th best brewery on the planet. Is this their bid to sneak up to number 1? It could be. So there's a big article on this, and it was out. So this leaves a lot more questions than answers. This article that I'm reading says there's so many questions. Will Three Floyds now ascend to be the planet's best brewery? Does this signal worrying growing pains for Surly? All to be determined, I guess.
Yeah, so, I mean, it does it.
Kind of a shocker here. What they already have brewers at Floyd's. Richer getting richer.
The thing about Three Floyds is, and this is from a Road Warrior perspective, because I stop at a lot of places to get some beer, and particularly in Indiana, because I'm an Indiananite. Uncle Pete's an Indiananite. We're talking about Three Floyds, but it's a they have a problem where everything they brew gets sold, and I'm not sure that their schedules of production really meet the way the demand kind of flows. So market seems to always be out of zombie dust, but I can walk into a store and there's stacks and stacks of a couple other beers they brewed. But I think in the whole that some of their off 22-ounces might be getting some age on them and aren't really as well desired as some beers that maybe Todd could bring to the fold. And I've always sort of thought that, Three Floyds and Surly sort of like peanut butter and jelly, they were kind of dialed into each other in a lot of similarities.
Well, this is going to be exciting to see what happens, because there's obviously a plan that these guys have that they're not sharing with us yet, and we'll just have to see how it transpires. It's going to be a fun ride.
I agree. Can't wait for the first collab or that first Todd Three Floyds beer to come out, man. And I hope it's in a 22-ounce.
I wonder if they'll call it Todd the Hatchet Man. So anyway, I guess we're back to our second circuit here. So Chris, that puts you on up next.
All right. Well, heading back to the top corner of the country, back up to Seattle. If I hadn't mentioned already, I spent the week in Tacoma. Tonight, though, I'm in Olympia tonight. If you don't know where Olympia is, if you get on a map, on that little divot there in Seattle, or in Washington, is Puget Sound. On the little quick geography lesson, to the right of that is basically Seattle. The kind of, let's go with the southeast corner is Tacoma. And then the bottom of that, the bottom of the U, if you will, of Puget Sound is Olympia. That's where I'm at.
Not to interrupt you, or actually to interrupt you. Olympia was always known for beer.
The Horseshoe.
The Horseshoe.
Well, it seemed
beer. So you're in a
it
beer
seems almost like a Seattle suburb, really, because when you're driving up I-5, Olympia is pretty much where like civilization begins again. Seattle's about an hour north of here. But all that being said, I don't have an Olympia beer. I do have a Seattle beer from, I believe, the Pike Brewing Company. Yes, there we go. Seattle's famous Space Needle Golden IPA India Pale Ale. 6.5 ABV, 58 IBUs. Ingredients: water, malt, Yakima Valley hops, top fermenting yeast. Let's see what I got here from the website. It says, an assertive, hoppy, and floral West Coast style IPA. It says, celebrating a Seattle icon, hop style. It was 1962 and the world came to Seattle for the World's Fair and its futuristic symbol, the Space Needle. The beer served at the 62 World Fair was nothing at all like this West Coast style IPA, generously brewed with 4 varieties of Yakima Valley aroma and flavoring hops. We then dry hop it with whole cone Columbus, Summit, and Centennial hops, which are part of floral aroma that has capitulated this beer to one of Pike Brewing's customers' favorite IPAs. It says over 100 beer enthusiasts gathered at the famous Space Needle in 2012 to taste beers from a dozen local breweries. Their goal, find the most evocative, how would you say that, of the Northwest beer culture and capable of commemorating the iconic building's 50th anniversary. We're honored that Pike's Space Needle Golden IPA took home the honors that day and has been turning heads and pleasing palates ever since. It does get into the malts. So it's got Munich, Carapalis. Is that how you say that? Carapils. Yep. ESB, Marisada, and malted wheat. Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, and Summit hops. It's available year-round on drafts as 12-ounce cans and 22-ounce dinner bottles. Hey, there bottles. You go.
I don't think I've ever heard a bomber called a dinner bottle.
Hey, well, I'm using that from here on out. No,
I'm drinking a dinner bottle of bourbon.
Makes it fancy. You can have it at Thanksgiving now. You can bring it for the holidays. No, I got a dinner bottle.
So you can
brilliant.
You can dome that dinner bottle as long as you put your pinky out when you do it.
There you go.
While you're pouring it into a paper cup in a hotel room.
Yeah, I know, right?
Life of the Road Warriors.
Yeah, we're classing up the joint with dinner bottles. Hey, real quick before I do taste this, I drove through the Yakima Valley finally about a month ago. And it was, I can imagine about a month before I was there, it was probably a sight to see, but all I saw was a bunch of empty hop vines just lining the roadsides. But it was crazy to think that that's where most of the hops for most of the world's beer comes from.
Yeah, they make
incredible, man. I mean, that's a lot of hops.
Yeah, but now let's taste the fruit of these Yakima Valley hops. The color, we're closer to amber than we are golden. It's a little darker than my first offering, but the smell is, it hits you in the nose a lot more than the first offering. We're getting flowers. We're getting grapefruit. I'm thinking maybe even a little bit of apricot in there. Let's take a sip. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Oh, boy. I can tell you, it's a real muted as far as the hops are there, but it's more, at least it goes down more, there's more of a citrus taste to it. This is real good. Wow. Cheers to the Pike Brewing Company.
Good stuff, man. Well, I've got a surprise for you, Chris. I'm going to jump in here ahead of Dugout because it is really his turn. But I picked out another beer randomly out of my fridge, and I wasn't going to review it on the show until I saw that it's from Seattle. So for your benefit, I'm going to do a very brief review of it. This was not planned. This is a guerrilla marketing segment, I guess, here. But it's called Fremont Interurban IPA. Fremont.
I almost picked that up.
Seattle Earth, because beer matters. It says on the can. So I've just poured this, and it is a really nice, like orange golden, kind of like you said, a little bit closer to amber than gold, but very nice, solid color with nice, healthy head and some lacing going on. I'm getting really, really nice fresh hops on the nose. You know, a nice burst of hop aroma. I'm going to guess there's probably Amarillo in this because I love Amarillo and I can detect that, but we'll see. Oh, man, I'm tasting it. It's really good. You need to go buy some of this, Chris.
Oh, I was going to.
Oh, yeah, really, really nice. It's definitely got Amarillo in it. I'm actually just pulled up on their website and confirmed that. It says Interurban India Pale Ale, named after Fremont's most famous outdoor sculpture, waiting for the Interurban. Interurban India Pale Ale offers the adventurous beer lover a warm embrace of Northwest Pale Malt, swirled with a hand-selected blend of Chinook, Centennial, and Amarillo hops. Interurban India Pale Ale is bitter as an IPA should be, yet balanced with copious aroma and flavor hops. Two-row pale, Munich, and honey malts with Chinook, Centennial, and Amarillo hops. 6.2% ABV, 80 IBUs. And it's a winner. So since you're out there, I'm glad that I shared the intel with you because you can pick this up and it'll probably be even fresher. But it's a real gem. And I've heard great things about Fremont, but most of the stuff I've read about and heard about are their bourbon barrel aged, darker stuff, stouts and porters. I know that they make one called Fremont Abominable. That's a bourbon barrel aged beer that's very highly regarded. So anyway, that's what I got here, and because it was Seattle, I had to jump in. This was my beer that I got a spacer beer to drink in between these sips of bourbon I have with this bourbon.
There you go.
Which is still hanging in there with that. So thanks for letting me jump in, Dugout. I'll let you have the floor now.
All right. I have one more beer. I'm gonna try and make this quick, but this particular beer is from Taxman Brewing Company, and they are located in Bargersville, Indiana. And it's sort of funny. All right, Chris, you're on the West Coast, but all this stuff keeps coming back to Indiana, Three Floyd stuff, the Todd Hwag from Surly. And here's another brewery and we've done an Indiana episode. We've done several Road Warriors where I've been in Indiana, but we have never touched a Taxman Brewery product. This one is called Cherry Reduction. And Jared, do you have something on the World Wide Web on this stuff?
I couldn't find anything on the cherry deduction, but I can read the base beer for this. The regular deduction is an Abbey Double. It's an 8%. And it says, take a deduction, our Abbey Style Double. This effervescent ale showcases sweet malty notes with hints of dark fruit, complemented by mild bitterness from classic European hops. Belgian candy sugar helps deliver a light, dry body to this dark, approachable double. So I would imagine that you got some actual real fruit in there with the cherry.
Yeah, I've got an ABV sitting at 8.02. That means they're being exact, right? Otherwise, you just put 8% if you were rounding down or up based on, what you're taught to do. And here's a little bit about it. The Brewmaster Series explores the potential of our house ales, our sweet and malty deduction double with its Characteristic hints of dark fruit is enhanced by sweet and tart cherries. Declare yourself by enjoying this selectively crafted specialty series. Well, I'll start out by saying it pours into my paper cup, looking kind of dark and smelling like cherries and Belgian kind of yeast. I guess I put that as a smell. A lot of newer people can't smell it like that. And the first sip off of it is it's almost like candy, and it's got a kind of a thick to a medium body. There's a cherry tartness off the top and follows through the rest of the beer. It's not cloyingly sweet, or it's really more tart of the cherry. The beer is big and thick. Wow. It was a warm bomber when I bought it. It probably sat in a cooler or refrigerator for about an hour, which is the perfect amount of chill on it, so it's pretty much cellar temperature. This stuff's a winner. Wow. Holy crap.
Well, I'm reading about the brewery on their website, and it actually reminds me of similar to like a brewery Vivant in Michigan, where they specialize. It's Belgian artisan ales, Belgian-style artisan ales. And it says Taxman Brewing Company is the culmination of a passion for beer, food, travel, and friendship, alongside a desire to be actively involved in our local community. Our story begins in Belgium, a country the size of New Jersey that boasts several thousand different beers and hundreds of community-based breweries. It was in Belgium that three of our founders met and began extensively researching the wide variety of local beer options. In Belgium, we fell in love with the depth of flavor imparted by the unique strains of yeast used to ferment the beer. We named the brewery Taxman because tax consulting work took us to Belgium, and three of Taxman's founders are in fact tax professionals. Our skull and bow tie logo is inspired by Benjamin Franklin's quote, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." We selected the town of Bargersville because it reminded us of the small brewery towns we visited in Europe. Taxman produces a wide variety of Belgian-inspired beers, some of which are classic Belgian styles, while others have a decidedly American slant. Our gastropub typically features 24 taps and seasonal farm-to-table cuisine. Sounds like a great place. I'd love to go there.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there, but, there were 3 different beers on the shelf from them, and I picked this one because it was the only non-bourbon barrel. There were 2 other bourbon barrels, and after having this one, thinking, yeah, I really made the right choice on this bottle of beer, because it's outstanding, and because this is not something you can just walk to the grocery store and get. I mean, this stuff is an artisan's work and flavor, and I don't feel bad for picking this one over the bourbon barrels. Probably, in hindsight, should have bought both of them, all 3 of them, but I didn't.
Well, trust me, I have enough bourbon for all of us here.
And you know what? That kind of bears in mind. I mean, how big does your cellar need to be? I mean, can you drink it this week, or are you just buying it to buy it?
Nope. Yep. It's time to drink the cellar. I'm trying to reel myself in too, but sometimes it's irresistible if I see something. But yeah, there's way too much cellarable dark stuff and barley wines and bourbon barrel stouts in my cellar. So it's now time to start depleting the resources. So I'm really trying to reel myself in from buying, but there's some you just can't resist. Like my favorite beer, Backwoods Bastard, which came out this week.
Just to wrap up.
That's why you're in Grand Rapids.
Taxman Brewery rocks. I can't wait to try some other stuff from them.
Yeah, reading that description makes me want to go there. I love their logo, too. That kind of like a skull with a bow tie and a top hat. Almost looks like it could be Abraham Lincoln skull.
Yep.
Hey, and I will throw in, too, a lot of people hear farm to table, they start thinking hipster and yuppie, and they roll their eyes. One thing I've learned about farm to table in this part of the country, that food is delicious. Do not count that stuff out.
Well,
I couldn't agree with you more, Christopher. And I like to think of us as brewers, home brewers, is kind of having that mentality, where you grow your hops. And I mean, good God, if I could grow my grain and brew one single batch a year, I'd grow like a ton of it just to do it. Because I enjoy that aspect
in farm to table, just the flavors of the food seem so much more prominent. They seem to. It just makes you realize how much processed food we on a daily basis when you eat farm to table food regularly. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, well, shouldn't we all be doing it? I mean, is that
what we used to do?
All I can tell you guys is on their website, I also looked at this little nugget. Sunday, they're open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and it says brunch ends at 3 p.m., dinner starts at 4 p.m. I mean, that must be one killer brunch that goes till 3.
That sounds like a brunch worth traveling for.
Farm to table brunch. You could get there at 1 in the afternoon and have it.
I want to get there at 30, and then do the brunch, and then stay till like the next round.
We killed this bacon at 4 a.m.
Well, if they open at 10, you can get the brunch and stay all the way till dinner at 4 and get an Uber home.
Yeah. And in the meantime, maybe they'll bring some stuff out of the cellar to make you happy.
No doubt they would.
So we about done here? Did we do all the beers?
You did all the beers. I even did an extra one for you, your benefit. A Seattle beer.
I just know I'm about through my bomber of Elysian. That's 8.2. We have to, let's see, bottom of the 7th inning, 1 out. You know, it's a good chance to end here. So, you guys can watch a game and finish.
Yep.
Well, I did. So I also, a much lesser note, but good for me. The Flyers beat the Red Wings in overtime, 4-3. So,
boo!
Yay for Philly.
I was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and it was in the bathroom of this restaurant, and there was a picture of Chris Chelios, like in all Chicago glory, and I took a picture of it just to be like, dude, you sold your soul to Satan.
Yeah, but he got some Stanley Cups out of it.
I know you did, but I was just like, dude, you sold yourself to Satan.
But he got his cups. That's how he had to do it, man. Chelios did what he had to do.
Yeah, he did. He had closed all his restaurants to reopen them in Detroit. So good man,
Yeah, it's a good business move for him too. But with that being said, we're gonna kind of wrap this up here. I'm sure, Doug, you would like to see the Cubs win the World Series live. So we're just gonna wrap it up real quick here by saying, Uncle Pete, we miss you. We'll be together soon. I know that sounded weird saying that out loud, but Uncle Pete, you're with us in spirit.
In a good way.
Should we share what we have upcoming in the near future?
But
let people wait. Let people wait.
Might have everybody all together in the same room. Might be a party involved. We'll throw that out there. It's called a tease.
All I'm going to say
in broadcast business.
Despite the numbers of the episodes, it will actually truly be our 50th episode and 2 more episodes. So let's just say we have big plans for episode number 50, and we'll leave it at that.
Yes, exactly. But thanks to everybody who has listened, who downloaded, 47. Everybody who has listened, who has downloaded, who helped make our Southwest Michigan beer episode the most downloaded episode on Christopher Media Network in October.
And everyone who's drinking now with us.
Yeah. Hey, if you're in Chicago, we'll say good luck. I don't want to say congratulations. Don't want to jinx you. But, at Beer Nuts Podcast on Twitter, at Beer Nuts Podcast on Instagram. You can email beernutspodcast at christophermedia.net. With that being said, we're going into the 8th inning. So, JR, let's go to Mexico.
Okay, as they say in old Mexico City, AMF.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the name your price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The name your price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.